it was just a few months ago that BLM proposed the much-needed updates to the federal onshore oil and gas leasing program. And since then, BLM has received over 260,000 public comments on its draft oil and gas rule, with a statistical analysis from the nonpartisan Center for Western Priorities finding that more than 99% of those comments actually support the adoption of the rule. Yet here we are today elevating a bill from Representative Boebert that effectively proposes to throw out BLM's popular proposal, as well as hundreds of thousands of comments from our very own constituents, just to throw them in the trash before the BLM has had the opportunity to review this feedback and refine the rule. This should be a serious dereliction of duty, of our duty to American taxpayers. And Mr. Grace, my state of Nevada led the country last year in the development of solar energy jobs per capita and has long been one of the top 10 states for solar energy production in the nation. I'm just going to ask you a quick yes or no question. Is it safe to say that at least 0.3% of solar installations in Nevada have successfully produced energy at some point since their placement?
Yes, and I know it was a yes or no, but typical capacity factors for a solar project are about 25 to over 30%, so it's way above that.
Thank you. Clearing that incredibly low bar already sets solar energy in Nevada apart from the state's federal oil and gas leases, where, wait for this, I feel like I'm I keep repeating this, only 72 out of 22,141 such leases issued since 1953, or shall I say 0.3%, have ever produced energy. Solar, on the other hand, continues to excel, as you said, supplying about 23% of Nevada's total electricity in 2022, and significantly reducing our reliance on out-of-state fossil fuels. Nationwide, solar has also added the most generating capacity to the grid in each of the last 4 years. The numbers on speculative leasing are crystal clear. There is simply no serious argument that this practice has been anything but a waste of taxpayer dollars in states like Nevada. But my Republican colleagues continue to contend, what about the states where there is real oil and gas to be found, like Colorado or Texas? Wouldn't raising the royalty rate, as BLM's oil and gas rule proposes to do, harm American energy production? And I want to turn to you, Ms. Hornbein. Am I correct in recalling that the current royalty rate for oil and gas produced on federal lands is 12.5%? And if I'm not mistaken, 12.5% is lower than the rates for oil and gas produced on state lands in Colorado and Texas. Is that correct?
And Wyoming as well.
So lower may actually be an understatement on my part. Texas's typical royalty rate has been double the federal rate, or 25%, for more than 30 years. Colorado, too, just increased its own rate, or increased its rate to 20% 7 years ago. Further still, officials in both states went on record during the Trump administration to report that these rate increases have not had a noticeable impact on production or leasing. This is a direct quote from a 2017 GAO study. Given these well-documented examples, it is fair to expect that BLM's modest increase to the federal royalty rate to just 16.67% through 2032 will be a boon to taxpayers without being a bane on production. Rather than restoring American energy dominance, as the name suggests, H.R. 6009 would instead maintain a status quo that has long failed taxpayers across this country, needlessly putting Nevada's public lands in harm's way and costing the American taxpayer roughly $13.1 billion in lost revenue, royalty revenue, over the last decade. I oppose Representative Boebert's legislation and support the BLM oil and gas rule and encourage my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.